Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to AJ 102 Introduction to Criminal Justice. My name is Tony Farrar, and I'm going to be your instructor for this semester. But before we get started on tonight's lecture, which is the review of the course syllabus, I'd like to give you just a little bit of information about me. I have over 34 years of law enforcement experience, spending the last 5 years as the chief of police for the City of Rialto Police Department in San Bernardino County. On the education side, I have a master's degree in police science, a master's degree in business administration, and a third master's degree in criminology and police management from the University of Cambridge Institute of Criminology in England. And that was a great experience, and perhaps we'll have some time to talk about that experience a little bit more. But I've worked in almost every assignment that there is within a police organization, with the exception of one, that being canine officer. I never did have the opportunity to take on that assignment. But what I do have is a lot of information and a lot of experience to offer each of you should you decide to pursue a career in law enforcement. And even if you don't, I have a lot of experience that I can provide to you. So what I'm saying is that please feel free to meet with me and talk with me about policing and to pick my brain and to even use me as a reference. Anything that I can do to make you successful in your pursuit of a law enforcement career, or any other career for that matter, is really what I want to do. So with that being said, now let's go ahead and jump right into the syllabus review, which is the topic of our lecture for this evening. So starting at the top of page 1, you follow along if you would please. Again, this is AJ 102, Introduction to Criminal Justice and Law Enforcement. The section number is 3050, and of course this is the fall 2019 semester, and we are doing the online adaptation of the course. My information follows down here. I am located on the Menifee campus. Should you require or need to meet with me for any reason, I have my office phone number and email listed down below here, along with a Twitter account. So if that's your preferred method of contact, that's fine too. Just understand I've only been using Twitter for a little while, so I might be a little bit slow, even though I do know how to use it. But just give me a little bit of a break on that one if that is going to be your preferred method of contact. So I've also listed here a couple of important links to some websites. And the first is to the MSJC Criminal Justice Club. We have working criminal justice clubs and have had working clubs for the last couple of years on both the Menifee campus and the San Jacinto campus. And if you're interested in this, here's a link to their Facebook page. And this is a group of students that get together weekly or bi-weekly. It depends on what meeting dates they pick. And they learn more about criminal justice. They get involved in projects, events, and activities. And they do some things that typically can't be done with students in an online setting or even in a face-to-face setting. And it's a great place to network and hang out with people that have similar interests, etc. So check that out if it interests you. And I also have a link to the Career Ed website, which is a good website to really help you determine or assess your readiness for online learning, and to also walk you through or talk about things like internships or different opportunities that are out there. So check out that page as well. Next, I have my office hours. Again, I'm located on the Menifee campus in the 900 building on the second floor. The office number is 961. My office hours are indicated right here. And for online courses, I'm typically monitoring the courses all the time. More specifically, I'm on during the evenings of Wednesday and Thursday night from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. But I'm always available to you at any time by appointment or by email. And email is the best way to contact me if you decide to get in touch with me. Now, if you do email me, please do me a favor. Place AJ102 3050 Intro to Criminal Justice and your name in the subject line of the email. And I have an example of it here using my name. And the reason for this is that because I teach several classes and some are duplicate courses, it's hard for me to remember every student's name and exactly what class you might be in. So to make it simple, if you use this type of a header in your email, I can quickly identify who you are, what class you're in. I can get the information and get it back to you as timely as possible. Now, all emails, please, should come from your MSJC email account. Now, if you are requested to submit a written assignment in Canvas, which in this course you are going to do that, please submit it to me in Microsoft Word, because if you send me a paper, a document, or something else in another word processor format like Notepad or WordPerfect, or from a third-party vendor like Google Docs, there's no guarantee that I can open it or even read it. And if I can't open it or read it, then I can't grade it, so it doesn't do anything for any of us. So please help me out. Make sure it's an attachment that's done in Microsoft Word. Now, if you don't know how to set up your email, please contact the College Help Desk for assistance, and they would be more than happy to walk you through making sure that you get your email set up properly. So down here, let's talk a little bit more about the syllabus itself. It is considered a living document in the sense that it is subject to change during the semester. Now, typically, I don't like to do that, and more than likely, I won't do that. But you always want to, you never know what's going to happen. You may have to make a change. If I do make a change, you will be made aware of these changes when they occur in the form of an email or an announcement via Canvas. Now, the reason that's important is that whatever electronic device you choose as your main form of communication with this class, whether it be a laptop, an iPad, or a cell phone, please make sure that you set that up properly so that it can receive emails or text messages when I send those out. That way you'll be up to speed and up to date on any changes that are made. If, of course, you have any questions about the course at any time, please feel free to email me or post your question on the general discussion board, and I will show you where that's at in just a little bit, and I will get right back to you. All assignments and due dates are listed in the syllabus. Therefore, it is your responsibility to read and follow them. It's not my responsibility to remind you of tests, quizzes, or term papers or due dates or anything else, since it's all contained within the syllabus. However, with that being said, I am going to send out, and I typically do send out, lots of reminders, to the point of you're probably going to be annoyed with the amount of reminders that I send out. But I do this to try to help you. But at the end of the day, please understand it's your responsibility to track due dates and make sure that your assignments are turned in a timely manner. So now let's move on to the top of page 2 and talk about the course description and some of the learning objectives and the textbook. Well, first of all, this course is more of an introductory course, an introduction to the history and philosophy of law enforcement. And I got to tell you, there's so much misinformation about policing out there, but we'll talk more about that as we go through the course. And we're also going to learn about various agencies involved in this umbrella of administration of the criminal justice process, all the way from the detection of crime to probation and paroles and arrests and offenders. And we're also going to kind of take a look at and evaluate the modern police services and survey, if you will, or look at career opportunities that are out there. And throughout this course, I will send out a lot of information through Canvas on career fairs or career events and things like that to keep you up to speed, to show you what's out there. So what are some of the objectives that we want you to walk away from? Well, there's a lot, but here's a couple of them, just to name a few. The first is to be able to look at the Bill of Rights. So we're going to examine the constitutional amendments, the Bill of Rights, and kind of take a look at which ones have the greatest impact on law enforcement and the criminal justice system as a whole. And we're going to also look at the process by which a case comes to fruition. Like, how do we get a case to the DA's office? So we're going to look at something, the criminal case process from the investigative end all the way through appeal. And so how does it happen? And we're going to look at all of that. And we're also going to take a look at some different theories that explain the causation of crime. Haven't you ever thought about that, where you kind of sat there and went, I wonder why people do what they do. I wonder why they do this. I wonder why they do that. This is a great pitch for criminology, AJ 112. If you haven't taken it, it's a wonderful class. I teach it. It's awesome. But we're going to look at a couple of those theories as well that really attempt to explain the causes of crime. We're also going to kind of look at the different courts and the different systems, the difference between federal and state courts, and so the lower courts, the middle courts, the higher courts, etc. And then we're also going to look at the components of the criminal justice system, the big three: law enforcement, courts, and corrections, and the roles that each one of those play. So those are just a few of the learning objectives, and we're going to learn a lot of that through this textbook. So here's your textbook for the semester. The book is available at the San Jacinto and the Menifee campus bookstores, but of course I know that you are all probably way more astute or familiar on where to get your textbook. Ebook is fine, textbook is fine, new is used is fine, whatever, but here's my 30-minute pitch for the book. There's a lot of information that's going to come out in this particular course because it is an introductory course. And with that being said, there's a lot of information in each chapter, and I like to limit my chapter lectures to between 45 and 60 minutes. And if I do that, it's not always certain that I'm going to be able to get all of the information in the lecture in that short period of time. So even though I'm going to post the chapter PowerPoints, and even though I'm going to post key terms and definitions for you to study, it's still necessary, I feel, for you to have the textbook and be able to fill in the gaps and to add more context to the subject matter. And the best way to do that is by reading the chapters in the textbook. So that's my 30-minute pitch on the real reason that you need to have the textbook. So some additional resources that are out there. The first one is the California Penal Code. It says optional, but honestly, you really don't need it. The Penal Code isn't the primary textbook, but we are going to refer to this book from time to time. So if you don't have a copy of the Penal Code, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You can access the information online. And this is going to help you discuss a lot of the codes that we're going to talk about, because the Penal Code, the California Penal Code, is a big book that has all of the codes in it, all the written information regards to crime and punishment in there. So, and it's specific to California. Every state has their own. So if you need more information, you can find it. I put a link on there right here. It's leagueinfo, legislature.ca.gov. You can find any of the California codes here. You can also use your whatever search engine you like to use, Google, Bing, whatever. You can type in the code. You can put in California Penal Code and then put the number in, and it will bring up information on that particular code. So again, you don't have to have the Penal Code. So because we're in an online class, let's move on now to, while everything I've said so far has been super important, this really is really important because it goes in part to the course check-in. So the college opens for regular fall classes on Monday, August 12th. So here we are right now if you're following along. Now, because this is an online class, I'm going to try to open it early, which means I'm going to try to open the course on Wednesday, August 7th at 5 p.m. So this is kind of like our little mini week one, if you call it. And you'll see what I mean by weeks. I break the class up into weekly modules. So a module is a week is a module, it's interchangeable, but I break it into weekly modules, which makes it easier to follow. So this is going to be our first one, but here's an important note I want you to really pay attention to. If I'm unable to open the class early, because sometimes the college won't allow it to open early, don't panic. It's going to open then. It will open on Monday, August 12th at 8 a.m. So I'm going to try to open it early. on August 7th. If it doesn't open early, don't panic. It's going to we'll open for business, if you will, on Monday, August 12th at 8 a.m. You will then have from Monday the 12th at 8 in the morning to Tuesday the 13th at 11 p.m. to get checked in. And I know that's a short time, but I really need to get everybody checked in for this little short week, this week 1, if you will, because the next module starts the actual course, which opens on Wednesday. And I'll give you a visual of what this looks like at the end of the lecture so you'll see it. So just understand, please take the time to do the check-in. And the check-in is basically a couple of different things. So take the time to complete discussion board 1, as this is your official check-in for the class, and here we are right here. Note that failure to complete the check-in will result in you being dropped from the class. Also, as part of the check-in procedure, you will need to complete a short 10-question syllabus quiz based on what we're going over tonight. So you know you're going to get 10 out of 10, so it really doesn't matter. But both of those pieces, the syllabus quiz and the discussion board, they have to be done, again, by Tuesday, August 13th at 11 p.m., and they're both graded. So please understand that, okay? So enough about this. I think I've kind of beat it up enough. So let's move on to the course guidelines. So this is a semi-fast-paced course with a lot of reading and information that I'm going to provide to you. And because of that, you must keep up with the readings. Don't just rely on the PowerPoint lectures or the key terms or things like that to get through the class. Some of the legal terms at first might seem difficult to understand because maybe you've never heard of them before. And because of that, you may need to read the textbook chapters to fully understand them. Remember, to add more context to the subject matter, another reason for the textbook. Now, in some cases, you might have to look up a word or a term on the internet, penal code, or in a law dictionary, and that's okay. If you have any problems at all with any concept or term or anything about the course, please let me know, and I will discuss it in Canvas in the discussions area. And I will show you the discussion area at the end of the lecture. We have a general discussion area where you can just post questions. If you don't want to post a question, you can email me direct. That's okay. Now, with that being said, it's not a super easy class, and it does require some work on your end in order to do well. However, this class is, not only is it awesome, but it's going to be very rewarding because of the information and the knowledge that you're going to gain. So with that being said, I wanted to give you some course expectations that I have of you. So participating in this class is going to require that you do a few things. The first one, number one under expectation, is to read the required materials, which means the PowerPoints, the lecture notes, the articles, and the textbook chapters. Number two, to view the weekly videos relating to each chapter, because I'm going to give you options. You'll have the PowerPoint lecture in PowerPoint. You'll have the PowerPoint lecture in a PDF document, and you'll have the PowerPoint lecture in an audio lecture, just like you're listening to right now. So you're going to have different options. So make sure that you're viewing those weekly videos, and each module is going to have an introduction section, and I'll show you that as well when we get there. I'll show you the actual Canvas shell. So back to this. Review the weekly videos relating to the chapter, the PowerPoints with audio, and any case study videos that come with it. Participate in thoughtful and timely discussions via the discussion board, and we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Complete the online and timed quizzes. You're going to have a quiz every week. Complete the online and timed exams. And then complete the midterm writing assignment. And these are basically the expectations that I have. Now, please note that failing to participate in the discussion boards, and we're here at the top of page 4, missing quizzes or exams, or failing to turn in any other assignments, or missing a combination of this or these activities may cause you to be dropped from the class. And that's why it's very important that you monitor due dates and you know when your assignments are due. But so you might be asking now, well, how do I know that I'm ready for an online class? Well, to make sure that you're ready for an online class, we went over the expectations, so you've already seen the 6 things that I kind of require. But if you need a little bit more information, I have a couple of helpful links. The first is a link to the MSJC online learning page. And this page has a lot of text information that helps you assess your online readiness to help you decide whether or not you're ready for online learning. And then the next link is to some video tutorials and some other related information, also to help you assess whether you're ready for online courses, and also walks you through how to navigate through Canvas and different things like that. So these are important. So take some time to click on these links and go to these pages and kind of assess your readiness, or at least understand what is going to be needed from an online student. Now, again, because we're online, it's important that we talk about a couple of things relating to the functions of Canvas, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but we're going to start off with the technology responsibility section. And basically what I'm saying here is that you are responsible for your computer equipment and the internet connection independent of the college. So if the college website goes down and you can't access Canvas or what have you, that's understandable. And we'll work around those issues, and we'll extend deadlines and things like that. But if it happens on your end, you need to be able to plan your coursework and to be able to accommodate any computer-related issues or other problems. And what I'm trying to say in summary is, don't wait until Tuesday night at 10 p.m. when your stuff is due at 11 p.m. and then log on and find out you have an internet connection issue on your end when you really had 6 days to do all of the work. That should make sense to everybody. So the mere fact that there's an issue on your end doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to relax the deadlines. If you're unaware of whether something that you've done, a test or uploaded a paper or some other transaction has gone through, it's your responsibility to check it, look in the grade book or whatever to see if there's a grade in there, or make sure that it went through. And if you really don't know, you need to find an alternative means of providing or completing the assignment. So you may have to have a backup plan, whether it's going to the library or a friend's house or something different. So again, the technology portion on your end is your responsibility. And that leads us to some of the main functions of Canvas. So I thought it would be important to show you some of the main things if you're not familiar. This might help you out a little bit. So the modules, again, is where all of your weekly assignments are going to be held. And I'm going to title each module so you're going to know exactly which week the information is for. So for example, Module 1 is going to be titled Week 1. And Week 1 is going to contain all the assignments needed to complete for Week 1. Now, Week 1, we know what it is. It's going to be, this Week 1 is going to be short. Remember, it's the check-in and the syllabus quiz. We're going to try to open it on the 7th, but it may not open on the 7th. It may be on Monday the 12th. So remember, it's a little bit short, okay, but it's still Week 1. But typically in Week 1, you're going to see things like the chapter introductions. You're going to have the audio lectures, the PowerPoints, the link to videos, the articles, the exams, the quizzes, the key terms, the definitions. Everything you need for that week is going to be in there, except for one thing. And that's the midterm writing assignment, the essay. That has its own module in Canvas, and I will show you that. But everything else is in there. Discussions. This is where all the discussion boards are going to be held. Discussions can be found in 2 places. They can be found in the navigation area in your Canvas, your class Canvas, under the discussion link, and it'll take you to where all the discussions are located at, and I will show you this. That's where the general discussion board will be posted as well. But also in your weekly modules, if there's a discussion board that's due, it's going to be in that module as well. So you're not going to miss it. It's going to be in 2 places. Sometimes when you log into those discussion boards, there may be a link to a video or an article that I want you to read that helps add some context to the discussion. And we'll talk more about discussions in a little bit on the importance in grading and etc. Announcements. This is important because this is where you're going to find all the announcements for class, including any changes on anything, exams, quizzes, upcoming information that I need you to know, etc. The grade book, this is important because this is where your grades are. And this is a place where you can monitor your grades as they are posted. Keep in mind, if you don't see a grade in a certain area, something's wrong. A couple of things to think about. One could be, did you turn in the assignment? There might be a blank there because you never uploaded the assignment or you never took the quiz. It could actually be that if it's a written assignment, maybe I haven't graded it yet. So the upload was fine, but there's no grade because I haven't graded it. If you have a question about your grade book, first make sure you're monitoring it, and then second, you can always email me and I can check it to see what's going on. Extra credit, this is really important because there is going to be extra credit in this class. And you can find the extra credit in the extra credit assignment module. It's a separate area. You'll see it. I'll show it to you. And the one thing that you need to know is that extra credit is date specific, meaning it's going to open on a certain day and close on a certain day. So make sure you read the assignment and take note of the opening and closing date because that's the window for extra credit. There may be some other opportunities for extra credit during the semester, and I will throw those out, or I'll make sure that you are notified through Canvas via an announcement or an email, etc. But for right now, there's one specific extra credit assignment that's in there that is date specific. Some of the instructional methods, this is for both face-to-face and online classes, but lecture, PowerPoints, exams, quizzes, writing assignments, computer research, review of current events, news articles, videos, group work, class discussions, case studies, guest speakers, hands-on, etc. We're going to use all of this stuff, or the majority of it, in the online setting for you to learn and be successful in the course. I will also keep you advised of any guest speakers attending my on-campus classes, and I will make sure that you are notified because you are always welcome to attend any of my face-to-face courses. Say we have a homicide detective that's going to come out and give a talk on homicide. You can come out to my class and you can be involved in that particular presentation as well. So what about some support? This is available to all students at the Learning Resource Center on the campuses or through the help desk. Also, because this is an online class, we have online counseling, and I will show you where that link is at in your Canvas shell as well. Again, please check Canvas in your email at least twice a week for announcements, any changes in PowerPoints, assignments, the syllabus, links to articles or other related information. Just know it's your responsibility to monitor Canvas for any class changes, etc. Now, the next section is the Code of Conduct, and you're probably wondering, well, why do we have a student code of conduct? Well, for one thing in particular, and it's basically for the online learning portion or the discussion board portion, which leads us to this topic called netiquette. And netiquette is basically network etiquette, kind of the etiquette of cyberspace. In other words, it's a set of rules for how to behave in an online class. Now, author Virginia Shea has defined the issues and discussed them at length in her book, which is pretty cool, called Netiquette. You can view a brief summary of her core rules of netiquette at this link that I included right here. They're not going to answer all of your questions, but it will provide you with some basic principles to use in solving different dilemmas as far as online discussions go. Now, again, I posted this for the simple reason that I want us all to understand that the discussion boards are typically topics that might have a little controversy, because we want to stimulate some discussion and conversation about these real life topics that are out there. And in order to do that, we need to be professional about how we do this. So I just want everybody to understand that in order to learn from a discussion board, we need everybody to be open on their answers and put out their stuff, but we need to be professional in our responses as well. So we want to understand that we're all different. The world would certainly be boring if we weren't. And because we're different, we have different viewpoints, and we want to respect all of the different viewpoints because that's how we learn. We don't learn from our own stuff. We learn from taking in other people's opinions and looking at different things and then thinking about those things and maybe researching those things and then deciding how we want to respond. So I'm just asking that we are professional in our responses as it relates to discussion boards and netiquette. I've also included some websites to help you. There's the Law Cornell EDU site, which is good for case laws. There's information on the Supreme Court, and there's also the information on the different penal codes and other codes that are relative to California criminal law. So now let's get into some of the heavy duty stuff. Okay, I mean, that everything else we've covered so far has been extremely important, but this is the part that I know that everybody is just waiting for me to go over. So here we go. Let's talk about the exams and quizzes. My fun part, maybe not your fun part, but the quiz and exam questions will come directly from the textbook, the lectures, the PowerPoints, the audio lecture, or designated articles or videos. Okay, another pitch for the textbook. Now, each week you're going to have an introduction to the chapter. You're going to have a reading assignment, a lecture, PowerPoint, and a short 10-question quiz covering the chapter that we're doing for that particular week. Now, there are 14 chapters in the textbook, and I added one, so now there's going to be 15. So just know that. 14 in the book, I added one, there's 15. Now, in addition to the quizzes, and you're going to have a quiz every week, okay? There's going to be 3 chapter exams, and those are 50 questions apiece. And then you're going to have 4 discussion boards, and the first one, of course, is the check-in, and then you have a writing assignment. So those are the exams and quizzes. Now, the discussion boards, just to give you go a little bit deeper on these because it is important. These are typically reflective in nature. Discussion boards are made to make you think. So they're made to make you think enough to maybe you'll research the topic a little bit, that you'll consider other points of view or other perspectives. And then when you're done with all that, you'll provide your awesome, well thought out response. So again, you're going to have a total of 4 of these. The first is the check-in, which doesn't require as much. And each discussion board is going to be worth up to 5 points. Now, when responding to the discussion boards, make sure you read the information or watch the video or article, because when you access your discussion board, there might be a little article for you to read or a video for you to watch. And they're not mandatory, but I might suggest that you do. And then respond with a complete, well thought out response. So here it is. If you want full point credit, if you want 5 points for your discussion board response, it has to be at least 5 sentences in length. Don't just respond or your initial post. It doesn't just say, I agree with everybody or something, similar. Tell me what you think. Now, if you're responding to someone else's post, feel free to say, I agree, I don't agree, have a conversation. That's how we get the discussion going, thus the term discussion board. But if you want full credit for your response, your initial post needs to be 5 sentences in length. And also, do me a favor, don't just copy some other response from somebody else. The more focused and thought out your response, the more points you're going to get. And again, tell me what you think. So that's a little more on the discussion boards. In your Canvas, as you're going through the information, you're going to see an area that's marked important, please read. And here's a little bit of information out of that area that I think is important for us to cover. So all lectures, PowerPoints, quizzes, exams, discussion boards, and any other assignments except for the paper. Remember, the midterm opens on the first day of class and it's due during the mid part of class, but you'll see when. But all of this other stuff is going to open on Wednesday nights at 5, these folders, these modules, and they're going to close the following Tuesday at 11 p.m. So open on Wednesday, close the following Tuesday. So here's an example, and follow along, I'm right here. Week 2 in this class is going to open on Wednesday, August 14th at 5 p.m. That means you will have 6 days or until Tuesday night, August 20th at 11 p.m. to complete everything in the week 2 module. That's how simple it is. You don't have to search for stuff outside of the module. The only thing outside of the module is what? The midterm paper. Again, all quizzes, exams, discussion boards, any other assignment that you're going to do for the week must be posted in Canvas by the following Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Now, because of that, because you have 6 days to complete this, as a general rule, there's no makeups. There are no makeup assignments. And it's because you have the 6 days to do that. So therefore, it's really up to you to get all of the work done. Now, with that being said, I know life happens. I know there's emergencies, there's families, there's kids, there's work, there's blah, blah, blah. I get it. I understand. But emergencies, when they come up, will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. Things like jury duty, military deployment, verified medical emergencies, etc. But waiting until 10 o'clock to start your assignments on that final Tuesday when everything is due at 11 and you just don't have enough time to finish, that's not an excuse. So I just want to make sure that we understand the dynamics of how the course works. So again, please keep in mind, it is your responsibility to make time for completing the assignments. Don't wait until the last minute. Set time aside to do your work. Again, while I'm going to do my best to remind you of due dates, and you'll probably get tired of me doing that, it's your responsibility to know when those due dates are and plan accordingly. So with that being said, here's a couple of helpful hints that I tend to see that cause people problems. There are 3 main issues that I typically see with online students who experience problems. First is the inability to keep track of due dates. You need to be able to self-pace and regulate, meaning keeping close track of assignment due dates and not waiting until the last minute to do the assignments. Second, thinking that because there are so many assignments, hey, there's 15 quizzes, there's 4 discussion boards, there's 3 tests. If I miss one, it won't matter. Well, in reality, it kind of does. Missing assignments tend to add up quickly, and before you know it, you're behind. And think about it. If you miss 2 quizzes, that's 20 points. I'm going to ask you right now, where are you going to get that 20 points back at? We have an extra credit assignment, sure, and I may be able to include some other extra credit things, but if I don't, it's going to be hard for you to make up those missing points. So that's why keeping track of the due dates is really important. And then the last one is to set up your electronic device, whatever it is, to receive notifications or important announcements once they're sent out or posted, so you can be up to speed on what's happening. Now, on the weeks that you have a chapter exam, you may still be required to complete that short quiz. So there's a quiz every week regardless. It doesn't matter. You're going to have a quiz. So you may have a chapter exam and a quiz on the same week. If that happens, little hint, do the quiz first. The quizzes, study hard for the quizzes. The better you do in the quizzes, the better you're going to do in the chapter exams. These are meant to kind of help you with the content of the chapters. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. How are you going to be graded? Here's the grading scale. More importantly would be the assignments right here. So let's take a look. You have 3 chapter exams with the third one being your final. They're 50 points apiece, so that's 150 points in the 3. You have 4 discussion boards. The first one is the check-in at 5 points apiece. That's 20. You have the syllabus quiz at 10, the midterm paper at 30. Your chapter quizzes, remember there's 14 chapters in the book. I added a chapter for 15. They're 10 points apiece. That's 150. So your total possible points are 360. Keep in mind, the point total above that I just talked about right here is subject to change. Not likely, but it could. I may add or remove an assignment, a quiz, or a test, or increase the numbers, etc. Your final exam, though, one thing that I think you'll find or you'll be happy about, it's not cumulative, meaning it only covers the chapters that are assigned. So in your final exam, you're not going to have questions from chapter 1 and 2 exam. only what we covered here, so it's not cumulative. And then, yes, of course, again, there's going to be an extra credit assignment. It's an article or a video review. It's worth up to 15 points. You still have to work at it. There's no guarantees you get all the points, so you got to work at it. But that is an option for you to do as well, the extra credit assignment. I do offer, just so you know, we're up here at the top of page 8, different modes or different modes of access or accessibility when it comes to the content in the course. So take, for example, your PowerPoint. You'll see it uploaded in Canvas in standard PowerPoint format. Then I'll make that PowerPoint a PDF, so that's a different format. And then we'll have an audio version of the PowerPoint, that's a different format. And then we'll have closed caption version of that audio, a different format. So you get some choices. Everything that's in there is you'll have access to it in a couple of different formats. Should you require anything different or you need some more assistance, please get in touch with me so I can ensure that you are going to be successful in this particular course. Your written assignment. Yes, there's a writing assignment. It's not that bad. In your Canvas shell, I will show you there is a rubric, which is basically a guideline on how you're going to be graded on your assignment. And this information, again, is going to be posted. Your midterm paper is going to be on the Supreme Court case, Carpenter versus United States. If you look down here, it's going to be a minimum 3-page brief on this particular case, or essay, whichever word you like better. I'm going to help you by giving you the questions I want you to answer. The issue of the case, the facts of the case, the finding of the court, the rationale for their decision, meaning why did the court decide the way they did, and they'll tell you. Any other cases that are affiliated to this particular case, and then your opinion. So there's 6 things that you're going to go over. Now here's the guidelines, and this is where I want you to pay attention. Your paper must provide 2 references. There's no makeups if you don't turn it in. I'm going to open this on day 1 of the class, and then there's a due date. It's usually like halfway or a little bit more than halfway through the course, but you'll see it in just a minute. So you have plenty of time to start and get it done. The paper must be at least 3 pages long, double-spaced, 12-point font with a cover sheet, an abstract, and a reference page. Remember, folks, Microsoft Word. The cover sheet, the reference page, and the abstract, they don't count in the page total. I need 3 pages of text. And it's not, with the 6 questions, you'll be able to fill that up easily. The paper must be in APA format, and your paper is going to be graded on content, spelling, and grammar, organization, and completeness. I've got a link to OWL Purdue if you need more information on APA format, but more importantly, I'm also going to post in Canvas, in your Canvas, a lecture instructional video, just like you're listening or watching tonight, on how to complete your paper in APA writing style. The video is going to include examples on formatting, so you'll see what a paper looks like, what the cover page looks like, what an abstract is, and how to do your reference page, along with step-by-step instructions on how to cite and format your references. So I'm going to walk you through it. Watch this video. It's very important. It's very self-explanatory when you see it. It'll be easy for you to understand. If you have more questions, please let me know. But once you see it, I think you'll breathe a sigh of relief that the writing assignment is not really going to be that big of a deal. If you need additional help on the writing paper, you can go to the library where there's handouts on APA. In addition, at each library, there's a writing center, and they can help you out as well. And I will also include in Canvas information on how to upload your essay. With that being said, couple seconds on the word plagiarism. You guys know what it means. It means copying somebody's information, whether it's from text, an article, a news story, a paper, a book, whatever. The source is without giving that person credit for their particular work, acknowledging the source. Even with quotes, if you use quotes in your paper and they're taken from a book or a text or a paper or whatever, you need to quote those. If you don't do this, it's called plagiarism. I have a link to plagiarism.com if you need more information on that. I also have down here some rules of thumb, if you will, that talk a little bit more about plagiarism. So I'm not going to spend all day on this. I think you all know what it is, but take the time to go through this and it'll help you out a little bit. Now, we're at the point where we're going to look at the course outline. So this is week 1. Remember, these weeks are modules. Modules are weeks, weeks are modules. This is the short one. We're going to try to open on the 7th. If we can't, what date does it open? The 12th at 8 in the morning. You'll have until the 13th at 11 p.m. to get your discussion board number 1, the check-in, and the syllabus quiz done. And of course, to listen to this audio version of the syllabus review, or you can just look at the syllabus, whichever you want to do. Because very quickly, that following Wednesday, week 2 is going to open. And here's week 2, or module 2. It'll open at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, August 14th. It'll close the following Tuesday at 11 p.m. on August 20th. It's going to cover chapter 1. Inside that module, and you'll see it in a minute, is going to be all the stuff. It's going to be an introduction to the chapter, the PowerPoint lecture, the PowerPoint itself, the audio lecture, the key terms, any other videos or text I want you to read. And of course, you'll read the chapter in your textbook because I know that you're awesome and you're going to do that. And then you're going to have your weekly quiz. Week 3 is the same thing. You can see it's not really that much work. Week 4, you just have to remember your due dates. Let's look at one where you have 2 graded assignments. Week 5 opens on Wednesday, closes on Tuesday. It's going to cover chapter 4. You'll have your quiz, and then look here, discussion board 2. In this week, instead of 1 graded assignment, you have 2. Go down to week 6. Remember, we talked about having a chapter exam and a quiz. You have a quiz every week that covers the corresponding chapter. Opens on the 11th, closes on the 17th of September. The quiz is going to be, this week is going to cover chapter 5. So there's going to be all the lecture, the notes, the key terms, all that stuff will be in there. You'll have your weekly quiz, and you'll want to take this first because in this same week, you have your first chapter exam, which covers the previous 4 chapters, so chapters 1 through 5. Make sense? Go down here a little bit further, you can see you've got in week 10, you've got a weekly quiz. Your discussion board number 3 is there, and then this is when your midterm writing assignment is due. Sometimes I change the date on the assignment, the midterm writing thing, and give you more time. Sometimes I don't, it just depends. So no guarantees, but I will let you know if anything changes. And that's how it looks all the way through to the very end. Now, one thing of note down here, I will advise you of job openings, recruitment events, guest speakers, attending all my face-to-face courses, and you're always welcome to attend any face-to-face class when I have a guest speaker. So now what I want to do is I want to take you to the Canvas shell. And I'm going to move this over a little bit, so give me just a second so you can see the whole thing in frame. Now part of it's out of frame, but the most important part is the navigation bar on your left right here, the menu. So you can see this is your class, the home page, welcome to AJ 102. It's got some information, a couple of cool videos, a survey for you to take real quick. There's a link down at the bottom that will take you to what we call the important information page, but I'll get to that in just a second. But I wanted to show you discussions. They will be in your weekly modules, but if you want to go to just the discussion page, you can see all the discussion boards. Here's your check-in. Here's the general question discussion. So if you just want to post a question, you can post it here. And here's the other discussion boards. There's the, over on your left again, if you look, there's the grade book, the different pages, the files. If you want to just look at the syllabus again, okay, here's a link to the PDF version of the syllabus, or you can listen to the syllabus lecture again. I have it in 2 formats, regular audio and closed caption, so whichever you would prefer. The modules is one of the more important pages, and again, this is in the teacher view that I'm looking at. Your view might be different, but it still has the same information. We have the online counseling link, so if you need help there, you can go there. We have the home page here. If you want more information on the Criminal Justice Club, we have that here. Next, I have a bunch of cool websites. If you like First 48 Hours or Forensic Files, these are links to these different websites so you can watch some of the shows. I have links to the Bill of Rights, the history of Bill of Rights, and then all the way through the 10th Amendment is where it ends, but I also have the 14th Amendment and then Article 3 of the Constitution. And these are all videos, so I would suggest that if you have time, just go through them and watch the video. They're actually pretty cool. Next, I have a couple of the important Supreme Court cases. There's a lot of important cases, but these are two really, really big ones. Here's the important information area that I was talking about. Go to the Please Read area, and it provides you with more information to help you be successful in this class. I have more on the Criminal Justice Club, the actual academic calendar, how to use Canvas, information on Cengage, which is the book publisher. Remember, we talked about the midterm essay had its own module. Well, here it is. So this is where you would go. You click on this and it'll take you to your assignment. Here is remember I talked about the audio version, the lecture on how to write your paper and show you examples and things like that. Here it is. This is the audio version of the APA lecture. Here's the audio version that's closed caption, should you require or want that. Here is just the PowerPoint. It's not audio, it's just the PowerPoint. So if you don't want to hear my voice, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't want to, here you go. Here's a paper on how to write a paper. Here's the writing rubric, which again shows you how your paper is going to be graded. I'm going to click on here because here's a quick link on how to upload your paper. It walks you through with screenshots on how to submit your assignments. So that's actually very, very informative. Let me go back here to the weekly modules now for a minute. And I want to show you what the modules look like. So week 1, the week we're in right now, remember this is the quick week. Hopefully we can open early, but if we can't, again, don't panic. Every week has an introduction to the chapter. You have the syllabus review, the audio version, which is what you're listening to or watching right now. You have the closed caption version. You have the discussion board check-in. And then you have the syllabus quiz. So this is everything you need to do for week 1. I have some videos on the different court system, and I think it's important that you do know the difference between them. So when you get time, you can go back and you can look at those, or you can watch them at your leisure. This is everything for week 1. Remember on the following week, so week 2, it's going to have an introduction, and there may be a video or an article to read. It's not mandatory, but it does help. You'll have key terms for the chapter for you to study. Here's the PowerPoint lecture. Here's the PDF version of the PowerPoint lecture. So these are the same thing, just in different formats. Here's the audio version of the lecture, kind of like what we're doing right now. And here's the audio version of the Chapter 1 PowerPoint lecture with closed captioning. So you have different options. Week 3 is the same thing, you'll see. You've got these different options for you to kind of look at. And then we'll go down to where there was an error. So here's week 5 has the extra assignment. Remember, this is where you start with 2 assignments. So you have the same thing. Here's your introduction, your terms, your PowerPoint and PDF, your audio version, your closed captioning audio, your discussion board number 2, and then your quiz. Then if you go to week 6, you can see, look, same order, same thing. It's very, very similar. But here you have your quiz and then your first chapter exam. And that's how it looks all the way through. And I hope this has been helpful as we've gone through this. Again, don't forget about the APA lecture, the audio lecture on how to write your paper. That will be very, very helpful to ensuring your success in this particular class. And it'll kind of maybe get rid of the scariness of the whole thing as it relates to the midterm essay and stuff like that. And while I'm playing around here and when we're finishing up, because I did this lecture in the summertime, basically, I wanted to kind of show you what I've been doing this summer, and I'm going to continue to do this summer until classes actually start. But that's the end of our lecture. That's it. If you have any questions, feel free to post them on the discussion board, or you can email me direct. But again, that concludes our syllabus review lecture. And this is what I plan on doing all summer, or what I have been doing all summer. So until next time.